We are looking out over the Salish Sea at Port Renfrew. And that is the beginning of the West Coast Trail right there, going up around the northern side of the island. My mom has done that trek right through all that gnarly terrain, getting soaking wet and jumping in that wet sleeping bag and doing it all over again for a few days. That up there is all second growth, maybe third growth. That was logged. These little patches here where you can see these few dead trees, that's primary. The majority of these mountains are second and third growth. A lot of clear-cut blocks up there, chopping the tops right off the mountains, making some landslides for future generations. Destroying the water filtration capabilities of the earth, crippling salmon habitat. Some of the wonders of modern industrial civilization and greed. Here is the entrance to the Fairy Creek watershed. That is the last intact watershed of a temperate rainforest on Vancouver Island outside of a park. It's pretty late in the game, learning all we did about ecology, to be contemplating still cutting that last tiny fraction of old growth. For the last 3 days, my mom, my dad, my little brother, my wife, we have been exploring into that valley there. That is the Fairy Creek watershed. Now, well in there, descending from the East Ridge down to the headwaters, we found a number of the biggest hemlocks I've ever seen in my life. I've seen a lot of hemlocks. Some gargantuan cedars, and they like to associate with the hemlocks in there, exclusively almost. We found 3 different bear dens that were distinctly underneath of ancient red cedars. Now these were intact red cedars, their root system was healthy, and these root structures were allowing for a bear den right under the tree. Now those bears, they're going to be born there, they're going to go down to the river, they're going to get the salmon, they're going to bring it back up there, and they're going to deposit those salmon bones under the tree, around the tree, feeding the tree. And without those salmon bones, without those ocean minerals, those trees would not get that big. They need those ocean minerals. Salmon and ancient forests are intrinsically connected. They got rid of all the bears over there in Washington one time. They thought they were helping the timber industry. And when they planted trees, they grew back all puny and weak. And they couldn't figure out why until they realized there's no more salmon getting dropped in the forest here. The deciduous trees in there, the big leaf maples and the alders and all those guys dropping a lot of leaves, they're depositing fulvic and humic acid. That's carrying the iron out of the earth into the water in Fairy Creek, depositing it here into this estuary, seeding the phytoplankton, seeding the kelp forest with iron. The ocean is low in iron. It is seeded by that iron carrying process gifted by the trees to the ocean. It becomes the foundation for the kelp forests, for the salmon habitat, for the whales, all those guys in there. And then those salmons, they go back up there and they give their bones back to the forest. You take down those trees, you screw up the whole salmon cycle. The salmon don't bring the bones back up. People don't get salmon. And they done that in Ireland, they done that in Britain. Salmon are all gone. They chopped down the ancient oak forests and now they got no salmon. We got to not do what they did.